I had this video all planned out and I did it all last night. Took 20 minutes. I did a really good job, and then I tried to upload it to my computer and it all glitched out on me, so I'm doing it again. Hopefully it doesn't do that to me this time. But it's a book recommendations list. I'm very excited about doing this video because I love books. I love reading. I don't know if a lot of you care about that kind of stuff, considering when a lot of my subscribers initially subscribed to me, I was mostly music, crap like that, but here I am, and this is what I want to do. So this is what I'm going to do. I have a ton of my favorite books on the floor right here, and I'm going to tell you about them and why they're my favorites and all that crap. What is my hair doing? Okay, let's do this. This is my first recommendation. Now, before I say anything, I am not a fan of John Green anymore, considering I've just grown out of his books. He's a great author. He's extremely intelligent and all that crap. I'm just not a fan of his writing as much as I think I was when I was like 13. I think I'd still read his other books just to see what they're about, and if I do like them, maybe I'm not. Maybe I haven't grown out of it and it's been a while. I don't know. At this moment, I don't think I'd read another John Green book. But this one, Paper Towns, is amazing. This is my favorite John Green book. A lot of people really like either The Fault in Our Stars or Looking for Alaska the most. Paper Towns isn't really recognized as one of like the top John Green books. I personally think it is. The character development is the main reason I enjoy that book, especially with Quentin. It's about Quentin. It's in his point of view about how he has his whole life planned out after high school, and then he gets to know his neighbor Margot, who's spontaneous and doesn't have everything planned out, and she's just very out there, and she goes missing, and he goes to find her, even though she didn't initially, she wanted him to find her, so she left like clues kind of, but she wasn't expecting him to, and it's a good book. It's not a very difficult book, but I mean, it's not the easiest of reads. John Green books aren't hard books. They're not hard to follow, but I think this one is one of the most interesting plot lines. Next book I have is Catcher in the Rye. Everyone's heard of this book. It's by J.D. Salinger. It is about this kid Holton who is kind of a slacker, kind of doesn't really care about much, and he pretty much just tells his story in a very strange way. There's no really like big obvious plot line going on in this book, but I remember enjoying Holton's narration and his attitude towards everything, and that's why I'd recommend this book. I wouldn't recommend it if you want like a solid adventure or a solid plotline story. I mean, he goes on this little thing, his little adventure of his own, but it's not something huge, it's not something insane, or there's no real big plot twist or anything. I mean, I'm trying to talk this book up, and I'm saying it's not these things, but it's a very good book. It's very well written. It's very old, and a lot of serials are caught, like when they're found, and it seems like they have a copy of this book for whatever reason. I don't know why. So if that interests you at all, see if you can figure out why. This book is insane. This is Defending Jacob by William Landy. It is a murder / legal mystery. It's about this lawyer whose son is accused and convicted of murdering his fellow classmate before school one morning, and he is not, I think he chooses to be on the case for it because he wants to defend his son, obviously. He's a very good lawyer, but he starts accumulating evidence, and it seems as though he doesn't believe that his son did it, but it seems like the odds are against his son. So no matter what, he's like defending him. He's not accepting that his son did it. He's in denial, and he's taken off the case. Someone else is put on the case to defend him, and after the initial statement, the final statement is released of whether he's guilty or innocent, the story goes on from there. So that's not the end of it. That's all I have to say. Huge plot twist at the end. Not gonna say what it is. You're not gonna expect it either, even though I just said there's a big plot twist and you're trying to like, oh, he's definitely guilty, or oh, he's definitely... No, I'm not saying what that is, but you're gonna freak the fuck out after. I had to read this for school, and I was so happy after I finished it, so I bought some of his other books. It also takes place in Massachusetts, which you guys know it's cool. So the next one is Yes Please by Amy Poehler. Amy Poehler is my hero, or one of my many heroes. She wrote an autobiography about herself, pretty much. It's a lot of anecdotes about SNL, about Parks and Rec towards the end, about her early life and what other acting roles she pursued, and things she had to deal with, especially with being a woman, with being a comedian, with all that other crap, and the way she just describes her life is so funny. I wasn't expecting to like it this much because it's an autobiography and I'm not really into realistic stories or non-fiction stories, but this definitely held my attention. I finished it in like 2 weeks. I'm not that fast of a reader anyway, but it was really good and I really enjoyed reading it, and she's hilarious. So, I mean, if you like Amy Poehler, or you like SNL, or you like Parks and Rec, or whatever, or if you just want to read about Amy Poehler, read about Amy Poehler. The next book is kind of a funny story by Ned Vizzini. This book made me cry. I don't usually cry while reading books. This is about Craig, who is feeling suicidal, so he checks himself into a mental hospital, and he meets all these people with different diseases, disorders, tendencies, and all this crap. He makes friends, and he realizes, what? He realizes how his life is different from theirs, or similar to theirs, and he starts to feel better about his whole situation. The author wrote this book based on his own experiences, and it's really sad to say that shortly after I finished reading this book, I found out that the author had committed suicide. I think it happened after I finished the book, it was like last year that he had killed himself, and it was unbelievably heartbreaking to me because it was a really good book, and I thought that the author had hope like Craig did, and I guess things slip, things fall, and it sucks to hear about, but this book will live on as his legacy, because this was made into a movie with Emma Roberts, and even though I fucking hate Emma Roberts, Zach Galifianakis was also in it, so just watch the movie for that. This is a good movie, and it's a very good rendition of the book. This is The Outsiders. This is so hard to explain. I tried doing this last time I made this video, and I couldn't do it. It's about the Greases and the Socias. Now, the Socias are like upper class jocks, what we think of as jocks today. The Greasers are like dirty, or rebels, or crap like that, and they end up being very, very good guys, and they're very misjudged by everyone in the community, whether they're Socias or not. There's a lot of violence between the two groups of people, and I'm just warning you, there is death, and sadness, and heartbreak. Everyone I love dies. This book I read when I was, I think, in 5th or 6th grade. It is called The Girl Who Can Fly. Oh, I'm sorry. The Outsiders is by S.E. Hinton. Yeah, everyone knows that, though. This book is by Victoria Forrester. It's called The Girl Who Can Fly. It's about Piper, who finds out she's able to fly, and she is sent to this school of other kids with special abilities and superpowers. Well, not superpowers because they're not superheroes, but powers that they use and all that crap like that. And as the story goes on, they're really happy with each other, they make friends, they don't feel different, until they realize what the people at the school are doing to them. They're trying to, like, suppress their powers and hurt them in different ways, and the teachers of the school were kind of weird and scary, but it was very good. It was a very good read. So the school's pretty much corrupt, and they try to escape. This book is called A Corner of the Universe. I read this in, I think, 4th grade, and I remember loving it, like, an insane amount, but I don't know how to explain this book, like, give a good summary of it, but this 12-year-old girl meets her uncle, and she lives in this small town. She lives without, like, knowing how big the world is, and kind of one of those small town novels where everyone's just kind of doing their own thing and not really caring about how big the world is. And then she meets her uncle, who has a mental illness, and she realizes that there are tons of different kinds of people in the world, and she doesn't get to experience that because she's so secluded in her little town. But she learns to love life a little more, and she learns to be able to discover things, and it's so cute. It's very easy, but I wanted to put this one in here because it's kind of nostalgic for me. Now, the next 3 books I have are my top 3 have to read books, no matter who you are, what you do, how old you are. These are the books I'd recommend to you if you ask me offhandedly. Let's begin with the one everyone probably expected to be on this list, Egghead, or You Can't Survive on Ideas Alone by Bo Burnham. Bo Burnham is a comedian, an actor, a songwriter / singer, whatever the fuck you want to. He's an entertainer, he's a theater kid, whatever. He is the youngest person to have a Comedy Central special, and now he has this book out. This has been out, I think, for 2 years or something. It came out in like 2013. And it is one of the best books I think I've ever read. It is a book of poetry, and the illustrations are insane. They're by his friend Chance Bone, and it's just, and you'd expect all these, look at these drawings, like, relatable. You'd expect most of these poems to be like raunchy or gross or rude, and yes, I will not deny that most of them are. Not most of them. A good amount of them are, but there are also some very, very heartbreaking ones. Like, Bo has that ability to be very heartbreaking when you least expect it. There are also some very cute love poems in here. Even if you don't like poetry, just pick this up because you will either get a laugh or a cry out of it, and I want to be buried with this book. This is the other book everyone expected to be on this list. This is Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. Chuck Palahniuk is my Lord and Savior, pretty much. He is my favorite author, and I have read most of his books. I own all of his books, and I'm trying to get through as many as I can, considering all the work I have to do right now. But this one was not the first one I read, but is the first one he published. It was published in 1996, and the movie was shortly made after because it was so good. Brad Pitt and Edward Norton, who are two insane actors, Edward Norton is my favorite actor, are in that movie. But please read the book first. It is so, so worth it. I made everyone watch the movie with me because I can't be like, here, read it so we can watch the movie. But it's good. It's about the narrator who cannot sleep, so he begins to go to support groups, and then he's able to cry, so then he's able to sleep. But he meets Marla, who does the same thing he does for her own reasons, so he begins his own fight club with his man, Tyler Durden, who he meets. So they live together, and they create this huge thing at a fight club, and it pretty much, shit hits the fan, pretty much, is how I can explain it. And it's so well written and very confusing if you don't understand Chuck's writing style, but if you do, then you're in for a really fun ride. Read the book! The last book I want to introduce you to got me into loving reading more than anything I think ever. I read this book in 3rd grade, and I'm recommending it to you now because I didn't fully understand it until I read it again. I'm just gonna start. This is When You Reach Me by Rebecca Steed. It is about a girl who is obsessed with this book called A Wrinkle in Time, which I haven't read but I own, and her life gets really confusing because she begins getting these letters from this old man who she doesn't know at first, and her friend Sal just doesn't want to hang out with her anymore, and because he's being bullied, and then everything begins to tie together towards the end of the book, and then your brain just goes because you weren't expecting something like that, and her storytelling is amazing. She is 12 years old in this book, and I still relate to her as being a 15-year-old because she just has to go through all this shit, and the book doesn't make sense until towards the very end, but it's very readable, and she's a very likable character, and everything just starts to tie together. It's just really, really good. The chapters are also very short, which kept me going. I was like, oh, I'm reading a lot of chapters right now, so I mean, if you want to read an easy book, but not an easy book, then I recommend this one. There's a lot of quirks to this character and to this book in general, even on the cover. And the main thing you have to remember is book, bag, pocket, shoe throughout this book. You'll get it if you read the book. That's all I have for you today. Those were my favorite books, I think, of all time, but I do have some more that I would be willing to tell you about. If you wanted me to make another video like this, or if you want to make me a video similar to this with like music or movies, I am beyond willing to tell you about them. Just let me know if you like this, and I'll continue if you want me to. And in the comments below, you can leave me your favorite books or books you think I should read, because I definitely need more reading material. And don't forget to give this video a like, share it if you want, and subscribe. That would be awesome. Thanks, guys. Bye.
We've had a hell of a ride, but you thought we were riding to heaven.
And the last book I want to introduce to you is, you can see the cover already. The last book I want to introduce you to